Help the raise of professionalism. Absolutely key. Absolutely key. This is an obsession, I would say. And this is one thing that really drives our team here. We have a great education, as you guys know, not only driven by our very own Center for Realtor Development team within NAR, but also we've created unbelievable and very strong and lasting relationships with our affiliates. Basically, whatever type of education, whatever type of niche you're interested in within real estate, we have education. We have designations and certifications that can help you, again, be better educated on those particular topics. And something that's very important that sometimes we don't quite notice, it's not just about the education, and our international friends know very well what I'm saying, but it's also about the network that you are creating while getting this extreme high level education, these super highly qualified designations and certifications. We're going to talk about many of those, among others, CIPS, which is the Certified International Property Specialist. I know many of you hold this designation. Well, again, boosting and trying to promote as much as we can education in real estate is a huge goal that we also have as part of NAR Global, again, within the US and also outside of our border. And then help develop global markets. This is very big. I'm very glad that Dan, Arthur, and several other great friends of ours, I've seen Soya as well from Ukraine, and several other folks here will definitely attest to this. As it's been said in the introduction, we have over 100 partners currently in 76 countries. And the reasons why we have these partners vary from country to country. But one of the main goals that we have through having those partnerships is to try create more ethical markets for our members to conduct business. And this has so many different shapes, so many different forms. There is not a one size fits all criteria here or sort of formula. We do from trying to help with, as you can see, licensing and standardization, trying to put together an MLS system, a real MLS system, helping with basic advocacy. We use our mid-year meetings that many of you definitely know very well with a lot of our partners that are trying to lobby their governments. They're trying to be able to talk and start conversations with their governments. Well, we use that big time because that's one of the main pillars and main strengths that NAR has. So basically, you name it, we have it. Best practices, anything you can think of that's needed in a particular market, we're here to help. And again, not to pick up on him, but I have him here right in front of me. I see Dan there, and Romania, for example, is a phenomenal example of a bilateral partner that grew, literally mirroring every single thing that NAR is doing, and they're doing it successfully. And I know there's several other cases, but again, we're trying to make any market outside of the US to be reliable for our members, many of you, to be able to conduct business just like you do here in the US. It's a huge challenge, but it's the most exciting one there is, that's for sure. Moving on, let's start with the resources. Okay, when I talk about resources and I talk about tools, something that I want you to understand from the get-go is I'm not just going to be talking about the tangible stuff, about a form, about PDFs, about different, we're going to talk about that too, but one of the most amazing, and really, I'm going to tell you very honestly, what gets me going and what motivates me every single morning is the human part of it, is the people that we are fortunate to serve for, the people that we serve for and that really make us better. These are the really leaders of what we are and the ones that drive our mission and our vision very far and have for many decades. This is something I call our unbeatable difference because I have never seen, and I'm very familiar with real estate organizations that have the difference that NAR does have when it comes to its resources. I want to break it down in two parts. Basically, resources that we have within the US and resources that we have outside of the US. Just very briefly, we got 24 global ambassadors within the US. We're gonna talk about this in detail a little later, but just so you know, 24 global ambassadors, 5 global coordinators, several of them, like I was saying again, are part of MetroTex. Thanks MetroTex for letting us, for borrowing with us, your phenomenal global volunteer leaders. We have over 130 global councils in 28 states right now. This is a phenomenal thing as well, because usually global councils and global groups within state and local boards are the perfect crib for global leaders to be born at. So that's why we take it extremely important. And then we have 44 ambassador associations. Outside of the US, 104 bilateral partners currently, 76 countries covering all 5 continents, over 6,000 international Realtor members, plus 2 in-region global ambassadors. We're gonna go in depth into what it means and what each of these players do and what's the role they play and how you can leverage them. But this is just a snapshot of all the different tools and programs, for lack of a better term, that we offer to all of our global practitioners. Important slide. This is the part on the website where you can find everything about all these resources. www.nar.realtor/global. We have everything you want to know about any of these particular programs. And I'm sure that a lot of the questions that you might have might be answered through this website. So please pay attention to this, because all of the resources and tools we're going to be talking about are all stored within this NAR Global page. Let's talk about bilateral partners. So like I said, 104, 76 countries. These are the like-minded institutions that we have outside of the US. It's not necessarily the NARs of overseas countries, but they're authorized voices within the real estate market. They're institutions and organizations that are able to provide us with a level of authority in that what they're doing is good for the profession, is good for the industry within their particular markets. And that's why we create these long-standing relationships with each and every one of them. They are very engaged. And they're people that feel the NAR family, the Realtor family, just like we do here in the US. And one thing that's important that I want to highlight here is when we onboard these institutions that are not necessarily just associations, we also have some education-focused providers as well. But they need to have bylaws and very especially code of ethics that are compatible to that one of ours. Due diligence process is way longer than just that, but they need to have a code of ethics that's compatible to that one of ours. Again, that's the thing that really separates them and that really helps them stand out within their local markets. So that, going back to the business portion of things, when a MetroTex member or a US-based Realtor member here is trying to do business somewhere else or referring a client, etc., you know that you're dealing with one of you. It's just that that practitioner does not reside or practice real estate within the US, but in that market. And that is a cool map of all the countries where we have bilateral partners. And like I was finishing, international Realtor members, this is huge audience for us, huge resource for anybody here in the US in terms of being the members that, thanks to our bilateral partners, have the Realtor status, meaning only members, and I'm going to repeat this so it's very clear, only members of our bilateral partners outside of the US can voluntarily, we don't obligate them, can, just like you do here in the US, you get your license and you decide whether you want to become part of a Realtor board or not. Well, outside of the US, the members of those associations that we have as bilateral partners can decide to become international Realtor members. meaning they're going to abide by the code of ethics that you guys do, and they're going to have a good number of benefits that I'm going to talk about as well. But it's very, 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 very important to understand that when you're dealing with an international Realtor member, you're dealing with a member of an organization that's been previously vetted by NAR. You are talking to a fellow Realtor member. Again, this is very, very important. We currently have over 6,000, slightly less than that right now, but we're not trying to open as many markets as possible because the possibilities are endless. And like I was saying, $59 billion were invested by international clients into the USA residential real estate market last year alone. Who's getting those referrals? Who is getting that part of the pie? It's very, very, very important that we nurture and that we really get familiar with this particular audience, because they're a driver of business for us here in the US as well. Specific resources, we got a Find a Realtor directory on the site, and I'll be happy to share all the links and everything with you guys later. We even have an international Realtor member referral form. It's not a legally binding document, but it's something that in many countries where there's no MLS or there's no other type of document to make sure that things are established in written, this is something that you can use when dealing with when dealings are happening between realtors in different markets, sort of like establishing what are the specific agreements that you are setting with the other party about a particular transaction. This has been fairly helpful. And we also have discounts on our NXT. I use the old name, the Realtors Conference and Expo. As you know, we're moving towards the future, so now we're NXT. So getting discounts to that is a big benefit that we also offer here. By the way, we won't talk much about the Realtors Conference and Expo, but that by itself is a huge global resource that we offer. Like, there is no other event where there's over 1,500 international Realtor members under the same roof as our November convention. So I definitely encourage you to attend and get to network and get to know really one-on-one a lot of these international members who are saving all year to be able to come here and learn from the same instructors that you learn, engage with the same people that you do, and go to the same cocktail parties that you go. That's what they want to do, and that's what is helping them build a network and therefore potentially doing more business. When it comes to marketing, we do offer a great range of different assets. Well, the first most important is the second you become an international Realtor member, just like you do when you become a Realtor member, you are entitled to call yourself Realtor. That's a huge deal by itself. You can use that R. You can see the value and the tangible, and even more important, the intangibles behind the brand: the trust, reliability, professionalism, ethics, etc. Very proud here within the US. I feel like it's slightly easier, just because thankfully this is a nation of realtors, or at least I wanna think so. But outside of the US, it means the world to us when you go to a country, you go to different markets where that are literally is everything to a professional. Is what saves them from not being recognized, from not being respected. It is a lot more than just a label pin that you wear on your jacket or any of that. We give any of our international members, plus well, like you guys do here in the US, access to all of our consumer awareness campaign assets. We created this Photify app, which I'm sure many of you have used, where you can literally just customize different assets that are readily available for you to use and share them on social media. Just customizing them, you can add your photo, you can add your details, all that type of stuff that again helps you get the feeling that you belong. You belong to the largest real estate family there is, and that's the Realtor family. So big things on the marketing end that I hope many of you have used or will start to use. Education, what can I tell about education? Well, this is the one of the biggest differentiators between NAR and any other. We offer the widest range of certifications and designations offered by any institution. Again, widely embraced, not only by our local and state boards here in the US, but also outside of the United States. It's a huge fishbowl, for lack of a better term, of connections, people that have the same interest, people that think alike, people that want to be better. So we have a huge number of our international members that become international members, among many other things, because they want to have access to this education. This education is what's going to drive their businesses. This is what's going to teach them how to work the way we work here, because in most cases, that happens to be the hidden secret to differentiate somebody that's not doing business from somebody that's actually come to realize that this American way is helping. This American way is something that if they apply correctly in their markets, can be very fruitful in the mid-long term. So that is very big for us. And there's nothing random about putting different logos in there. Again, I've wanted to include the commercial part as well there, because I've talked about residential, but there's a lot of things that we're doing also on the commercial side on when it comes to education, that depending on the market you're in, can be very interesting as well. So commercial practitioners, I'm talking to you as well. Global ambassadors, global coordinators, these guys are the heart, the soul of our program. Very quickly, because I know that you've heard this many times before, but it's global ambassadors are basically 24 individuals, actually 26 if we take into account the 2 in-region ambassadors that we have in Eastern Europe, that the NAR president appoints as the liaisons between NAR and the particular regions or territories that they're assigned to. Again, and I really wanna mention, Hane Segalowski. I know I've seen Richard Miranda earlier. Berry Arguello. Well, there's a good number of people within MetroTex that continue to help boost our vision and our global values, and for that we're super thankful. And among those 24 global ambassadors, which basically are the face of NAR within those particular countries, we also have 5 regional coordinators. Each of them, Hane would be one of them, leading our efforts in Western Europe, but they're basically the leaders for the territory, and the global ambassadors that fall under each of these regions are the ones that they particularly oversee. So again, we do rely on volunteers big time. Everything we do, every single program we launch, we always take them into account. And I want them to be seen as a resource, because in that page that I was showing you earlier, you have a full list of all of them. So whenever you need information about a particular market, a particular bilateral partner, you can either touch base with a bilateral partner directly or go to the global ambassador. They're going to be your perfect bridge between anything that NAR is doing with that particular market. So they're a huge priceless asset for us. Moving on. Ambassador associations, that is another great resource. I wanted to highlight and for the sake of this conversation, again, congratulate MetroTex on all the the great things they're doing as an ambassador association with the Netherlands, but it's basically a program for those of you that are not familiar with it, that is trying or aiming to create connections between associations and particular bilateral partners. So it's a program that sort of, think of it as a sister cities program, where NAR relies on local and state boards that have global groups within. The main requirement is you need to have a global council, an active global council in place, so that we assign you a particular country. What that provides for you is an opportunity for you to engage with your members, continue to expose them to the global opportunities, learn from other markets. And what that does for bilateral partners is that not only now they have NAR as a resource here, but they also have an association. So it's sort of like an association to association level, where there's a lot of things that happen, like trade missions, virtual webinars. There's a lot of things that happen among those that end up bringing a lot of value to the relationship. And one thing that I didn't highlight there is that when we create this type of connections and networks between our bilateral partners, between a particular country and a local or state global-minded board, this is very important, because when it comes to conferences, when it comes to live events, we are able to rely on you guys to be able to help our international fellow stakeholders better navigate the events. So it can be extremely overwhelming to land in Anaheim this coming November and feel like, wow, there's a 200,000 feet expo trade show floor with 200 educational sessions and governance meetings, et cetera, et cetera. That is a huge part of NAR. That is a huge part of who we are. And ambassador associations play a very, very, very big role, helping our partners in conjunction with NAR, but helping them better understand what's NAR, what's this event, what are the different opportunities you can unlock, how can your members benefit from attending this event. Again, we are, just like you are, MetroTex, we're a member-centric organization, and all of our focus is helping our members, again, whether they are here or whether they're outside of the country. Global councils, big fish bowls, like I was saying, of global knowledge, of global future leaders. This is a particular program where we pay very, very special attention. I personally believe that, like I was saying earlier, global is local, and a huge part of what we do globally happens in the US. A lot of the global connections, a lot of the global transactions are happening right in your backyard. So we take it very seriously to give counsel and advice to local and state realtor associations that want to initiate themselves within the global business, so they can create these particular groups of global-minded folks, so that they can start attracting and creating some momentum over the opportunities that global real estate can bring to their local marketplaces. So definitely consider this as another big resource as well. And these guys, from my experience, are always ready to start a conversation, to engage, to network, to provide value added to their members through, again, educational sessions that are now, a lot of them are virtually, but I've attended a couple in-person meetings too, and they're really, really, really phenomenal. And it's an elite group of global-minded folks within each association that are absolutely instrumental to move global activities forward in an organization. We get a good number of them. Other resources, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Platinum Perspective series. This is a phenomenal podcast that was started by one of our former colleagues here at NAR. I 101% recommend you to access this information. It gives you bits and pieces of what we do at NAR Global. It's literally recorded for people that have a lot of knowledge, but also very understandable for people that are starting. So it's a great listen for those of you that want to learn a little bit more about what we do, on what our mission is. If you really have time, and they're short episodes, like between 30-45 minutes each, I think this is a great resource that was created during the pandemic, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback on how great it's been to put into, like, I think it's 11 episodes, really what we are, and a lot of the things that we do here too. And I've seen Christine, I think, from Austin, and several other great entities here. It provides a lot of what we offer, and a lot of it provides information on many of the programs that we offer through case studies, through real examples of associations that have been doing things in a certain way. So it's a great way to inspire yourselves as well. CIPS, I wanted to highlight this particular program just because it's the only international designation that we have here at NAR. Doesn't mean that many of the other designations are not applicable, internationally speaking. As a matter of fact, ABR, SRS, Green, they're all huge outside of the United States as well. But the one reason mostly I wanted to highlight CIPS for is the network. It is a terrific network. It's by far, and my colleagues at Center for Realtor Development might not be in agreement with me, but it's the best social network there is within any NAR designation or certification. The Facebook group, the camaraderie around being a CIPS designee is really big, and it's a great first stepping stone for many of you that want to become more familiar with global real estate. Again, not only because of all you're going to learn, which is a lot, but also because of the network that you will automatically be engaged with once you become a designee. We have over 4,500 of these designees outside of the United States and within the US. So again, now with designations and certifications, you can not only look for a Realtor member in Bulgaria, Romania, or Spain. Now you can even go deeper. Now you can go find through the directory an international Realtor member of NAR, who, by the way, speaks English, who, by the way, is a CIPS, and who, by the way, just because you want him to deal with a potential seller that you're referring, that has an SRS, Seller Representative Specialist designation. So it really is a great way for you to better profile, if you will, who you're sending your clients to. NAR Espanol. This makes me particularly excited to talk about, because this is something that I started from scratch back in 2018. It grew organically to more than 3,000 members now on different social media. We provide with lots of tools and resources specifically aimed at those of you who have clients, whether they're outside of the US or within the US, that speak Spanish. I was sort of like very short story, was kind of tired of being able to be in South America or Central America and come back thinking that, yes, there's value in being a realtor. There's they understand the concept, like the different stakeholders there, associations, international members, they understand what it means to be a realtor. They want to be a part of that. They want to feel they belong and they're part of the family. But yet there were not a lot of resources, amazing resources that NAR produces, because if anything NAR does is produce a lot of content, but pretty much none of that was in Spanish. So that was a little frustrating because they couldn't really access and leverage that content. Well, now that is possible. We have webinars, we have different forums, we have a lot of great guides, and a lot of the programs within NAR, Realtor Safety Program, Code of Ethics course. There's a lot of new courses that are now being able to be accessed in Spanish. So that's huge. I've met several of you guys, a lot of members from MetroTex at our annual conference live sessions. This is a very big part of this NAR Espanol program. And, you know, Latinos, they just love hanging out. They just love learning among themselves as well. So we're creating slowly but surely a great community of Spanish-speaking realtors that are not only educating and building a network, but also having fun while doing it. So this is definitely a program that for those of you that speak Spanish or have clients who speak Spanish, there's a lot of resources that you can use with them to better show to leverage your status as a realtor. Last but not least, this is gonna be this is huge. It's actually huge. I hope you all download this particular research reports. We have those on the residential and the commercial side. So both types of real estate are covered, but NAR releases every July an international report on investment in residential real estate. That is the last one, but we have a ton of reports that are focused on international or global as part of what we do on the research side. We have a full team at NAR that works on this. They are very authorized voices for what's happening on the global end, and particularly this one is very cool because not only it tells you, and I'm not going to give too many spoilers here, so you download it and read it, but not only it does tell you who are the top 5, top 6 countries that are investing in international real estate within the US, which is by itself a phenomenal hint for you to better target your marketing campaigns, etc. But it also breaks it down state by state. So it not only tells you that Brazil, the UK, Mexico, India, and I don't know, they're investing in the US and the percentages and all that type of fun stuff, but it also tells you in Texas who is investing where. Like that is priceless information, and you get that as a member for free by accessing these reports. And we have a very similar one for commercial real estate. Just for the fun of it, and there's nothing random about including this image here. Texas is constantly ranked among the first 5 states where international investors are looking at for many different reasons. And that leads me to talk about the most up-to-date and the newer resource that we have. Some of you that have been around for a while might be familiar with these specific reports, these local market assessments. Well, they got pretty old since last time we conducted this particular research back in 2016. So we are revamping them. And actually yesterday, I got this Region 10-1 that includes Louisiana and Texas. Again, I see there's such a diverse audience that I focused a lot on Texas just because this is MetroTex, but you have all these available for every single state. And the information is as of a couple of days ago. So it's as fresh as it can be. And it gives you a great overview on what are the different global opportunities that based upon the type of international companies that are headquartered in Texas, or the amount of expats that you have in Texas. So it's more like global economic development type of information that again gives you phenomenal hints on how to better tackle your audiences and learn about markets where you might think that you can do business at. And with that, I know that's been a lot of information. I don't know if there will be any questions, but if you all agree, I think this could be a good moment to to tackle a couple of those, and I'll let you, Steve, and April take it from here. Thank you again for listening.
Great. So we will have a Q&A session, and we'll start that here now. But we've also set up breakout rooms. So after a couple of minutes, what we'll do is we'll allow everybody to select their breakout room. You'll see that their breakout rooms are set up for, one's for Alex, others are set up by region of the world. So Europe, Middle East and Africa, Asia, the Americas are all set up. So you can get in and talk to realtors about those markets and hopefully do some networking and coordination. So April, do you want to weigh in and thank Alex?
So much again, Alex, for everything.
You're very faint, April.
Oh, am I still muted?
No, you're fine. You're
okay. So I just want to say thank you again, Alex, for everything. And if we have, does anyone have any questions at this time that they'd like to ask Alex?
Richard Miranda has posted a question, and he says, the RAIM Foundation funds to be used for, are the RAIM Foundation funds to be used for CIPS only? Can they be used for the SRS designation course as well?
Oh, no. The RAIM Foundation isn't necessarily only tied to CIPS. Isn't even necessarily tied to educational activities. I would say 90% of the time, the projects that these grants are assigned for have something to do with education, but it doesn't have to be necessarily tied to it. So CIPS, that's one of them, SRS, ABR. We've had programs involving RAIM Foundation for MLS-related particular projects outside of the US. So again, education is definitely the big focus, but it's not a strict requirement for getting the grant. And Richard, if you want more information on RAIM Foundation or anything that has to do with that, I'm happy to put you in touch with the person on the team that specifically manages this program.
Great. So April, if you're okay, we'll go ahead and open up the breakout rooms and people can join them. You can select your own breakout room. If you would like to get some assistance, just remain here and I will help move you into the breakout room of your request. So I'm going to open them all up now. Alex, if you join the one that's labeled Alejandro Escudero, I hope people will have more questions for you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I do actually have a question for Alejandro. This is Cindy De La Garza.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Alejandro. Great presentation. Thank you so much. So I am new to the group here. This is my first time actually present here with, being in a group with MetroTex, I should say, part of the Global Realtor. But what would you recommend for someone like me that's new? I have a lot of background experience. I lived all over Latin America, hablo Espanol. 95% of my clients are Spanish speaking, but with all this great information, where do you start? This is my first time here like I said, here at the meeting. Where do you start? Like, what would you recommend?
So I think for somebody with your profile, the fact that you are with MetroTex is a huge advantage itself. So my first advice, and I see that you're already doing that, so I commend you for that, is continue to stay as engaged as you possibly can with anything that has to do with global within MetroTex. And then one of the big advantages of being with MetroTex, Texas in general, but MetroTex in particular right now, is you have, an incredible number of resources within your own association. So my piece of advice, and I do that myself on a different staff sort of level here, is try to find who can be a good mentor for you. So try to find a particular member that you have engaged with or that you want to meet with that has a proven track of engagement within the global business. I mean, I'm not going to mention any because I don't want to feel partial, but there's so many here that could be absolutely the best mirror for you when it comes to global. That would be what I would, because I would suggest other things, but I feel like I'm a big believer that in order to succeed, you gotta take these things step by step. So learn as much as you can on the local level, then I'm sure you would find opportunities to engage on the state level as well. And certainly I would be more than happy, especially knowing you speak Spanish as well, to be able to potentially in the future offer some opportunities that appear on the national level that can help us big time as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Great, Alex, you've got people waiting for you in your breakout room. So let's go ahead and start joining everybody. You should see an icon at the bottom of your screen with breakout rooms, and you can select which one you want to join.